But yeah, it's great to see that, you're obviously doing so well with the program. So your weight hasn't actually gone too much down in terms of like kilos. So you'd only lost about 4 kilos, but your body composition has like improved a
Yeah,
lot.
loads.
So if I was to ask you, like, what would be your mind frame if there were women watching this in terms of them being focused on the scales? What kind of perspective would you give them on that?
Like not to do it. Like I fell in that trap and I was in that trap for like 2, 3 years. And that's where you get demotivated and you fall off and then you start binge eating because you think there's no point even doing the workouts or being strict. Um I think the pictures, taking the progress pictures is 100% the best way. Because like when you showed me just in a month, I didn't realize that I made that much of a change until you put both of them together. Whereas if I was focused on the scales, I probably would have been a bit disheartened.
Yeah, yeah, that makes perfect
Yeah,
sense. You obviously mentioned you worked with a coach before.
yeah.
They were a bit more focused on the scales.
Hmm.
So if you were to like talk about that experience versus the 3 months we've been working together, how would you kind of what would your perspective be on the both in terms of comparison of the approaches?
I feel like with you so far, like it's been a very positive experience. Um, and it's more of like a long-term lifestyle. Whereas before, the coach was very much like quick kind of results. Like it wasn't a long term thing. It was like drop as much weight as you can in a short amount of time. Kind of didn't really help me stay on track afterwards. It was just for the results, probably for his page and for his followers, really, rather than for me.
Yeah, yeah, it can be quite a something I have experienced in the industry where it can be a lot in terms of something looking good on their page, which will
Yeah,
maybe like grow their business, and they
yeah,
through that process they actually forget about taking care of their
yeah,
clients because they're so hell bent on growing something, which I can obviously understand both sides of the spectrum because obviously being a coach, I'm always looking to grow myself, but at the same time, it becomes counterproductive because you're actually not taking care of your clients. So yeah, that I completely understand that. So like in terms of energy wise and confidence levels, in terms of how your body's changed so far, how do you feel versus 2, 3 months ago?
a lot better. Like in my clothes, even just things like going to the gym and doing the workouts, like I feel much fitter. I feel much more confident doing certain exercises, especially like custom exercises on my plan that you've given me. I've never done before. Um,
Mhm.
but now I feel I could do any of them in the gym because I'm more happier in my body.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's great to hear. One other topic I wanted to cover was because a big problem I've come across, especially with women, they tend to undereat, and you're on like quite a decent amount of food intake, and you've been seeing progress. So, in terms of being on like like a fairly moderate to high food intake and actually still losing body fat and seeing improvements, what kind of opinion would you give on that now? Into for like women that may just be thinking that you have to starve yourself or just
Yeah.
completely cut out carbs.
So like at the beginning when you gave me that plan, I was so scared. I thought, oh my God, it's gonna make me fat. But actually now I absolutely love it. And the fact that I am actually still kind of losing weight and I'm eating all this food and it's all good food as well, like I'm full after it. Um, it's encouraging to know that potentially as time goes on, I might even be able to increase it even more. Um, yeah, amazing. Like you don't need to like scrimp and scrape and have nothing on your plate to lose fat, lose weight.
Yeah, 100%. And we still have so much room to either like bump up cardio or bump up your food intake. We're most likely, as I mentioned in your last response video, we're most likely going to bump up the cardio a little bit, but we'll just keep the food intake the same. So
Yeah,
it should push for more fat loss. And yeah, it's 100% a better approach. You always want to give yourself enough room, especially when you're going through like a body recomposition, to allow yourself where you can actually bump up the cardio if you want to like push for a bit more fat loss or bump up the food if you want to push for more muscle growth. So yeah, 100%. And you obviously mentioned you do like night shifts for like women out there because one conversation I get often is I don't have the time or
Yeah,
my work schedule's too busy. You have quite a busy work schedule and you
yeah,
work
I
quite
do.
a strenuous job, right? So what kind of mindset do you think it takes to kind of balance the two in terms of like obviously going towards this journey of achieving elite level shape while managing your hectic work schedule?
It's hard. It's 100% not easy. But the way I do it is if my hours are kind of against me in the way as I know that I need to get a gym workout in, however, it might mean that I'm not going to get enough rest for my next shift. I will just make sure that I kind of plan my workouts around my shifts. So I don't put too much pressure on myself that I have to stick to the same days. So I can kind of get all my workouts in, but it just might be I might have 2 days rest in between rather than one day. Um,
Mm.
I think that's very important, and especially with the eating, I panicked at first, didn't I, with like my shifts because I was like, how am I going to fit in all my meals if I'm doing all these weird hours? But now we've juggled it, so I still get all my meals in and I still stay full, but it just might mean that I swap them around throughout the day to fit that shift that I'm working. So it's definitely doable. I just think it's a bit of trial and error of what works best for you.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that's one aspect of working with a coach. I did mention this in the video. Like there is going to be a bit of trial and error involved.
Yeah,
And obviously, one aspect of working with a coach is it allows you to like just eliminate those like bottlenecks and those barriers in
yeah.
having the right nutritional protocols in place, which will just allow you to stay more consistent without kind of getting stressed out or getting burnt out in that way. I mean, have you experienced any kinds of burnouts in the past 3 months?
No, not really. I think at first, like before I spoke to you about my struggles with when to eat my food, I was trying to kind of do it myself and like didn't really ask for help at first. I did struggle then, because I was trying to eat all my meals in the day, but then I was working all night and I had like no food and I was burning out. But then once we had that discussion and you figured it out for me when to have them, it's been amazing.
Okay, great, great. That's great to hear. Now, how's your strength been? Because obviously, I have noticed you have been progressing like little by little each week. But how do you feel in terms of like the feel good factor of your strength going up?
I feel much stronger now. Obviously at first it was quite high volume, wasn't it? And it still is high volume, the plan that I'm on, but it has allowed me like little bit by little bit to add more and more weight. So now it doesn't seem that much of a jump when we do change the reps and stuff. Um, yeah, much stronger in myself.